The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida. This is episode 3A of the Finding Florida podcast on the Florida Podcast Network, the wheels of Daytona Beach.
Welcome to Finding Florida, the podcast that takes you from country to the coast. Join your tour guides, an unlikely pair, city girl Jemmy and country boy Glenn, as they explore the amazing sights and sounds of the Sunshine State.
I'm your girl from the coast, Jemmy.
And I'm Glenn from the country. Thank you for joining us on this lead up to our third adventure episode of the Finding Florida podcast. Daytona Beach has certainly been the backbone of American racing for years. So as a fun way of celebrating this car history, we just visited to see how many wheels we could incorporate into our adventures there in one day. So that's what you'll hear in the next episode.
But on this episode, Glenn and I get into the history and heritage of Daytona Beach, including how it became known as the world's most famous beach, talk to Kate from their Visitors Bureau about other attractions that make Daytona Beach so special, and then get into a whole bunch of other fun Florida stuff. Listen in.
So beautiful beaches and beautiful waters, arts, culture, and racing. Daytona Beach, it's way more than a beach.
Just a quick reminder for you to go ahead and jump into the FPN Insiders on Facebook. It's a closed group exclusively for super fans of Florida Podcast Network shows, such as the Finding Florida podcast, and will give you access to early scoops, contests, and other special treats. So Glenn and I look forward to meeting you in there.
Well, this trip, we were challenged to get on as many wheels as we could in Daytona Beach. And I think we had a pretty lofty goal of, my goal was 100, but Jemmy decided to just keep it real and go with 40 to 50. But, you know, the goal was to get on as many golf carts, go-karts, hot rods, Ferris wheels, bicycles, electric bikes, just everything we could find to ride in Daytona Beach. Why not? Daytona Beach is known for racing. It's known for wheels. We thought that was a perfect fit. Visit, perfect for our first visit to Daytona Beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you're going to hear in episode 3B. And, well, let's have a few clips. And we are on the beach, on Daytona Beach right now.
76 degrees.
It is beautiful
and
today.
It's almost December. Isn't that awesome?
It's perfect weather
That's
here.
why I live
and
here.
Everybody up north is now mad at us. But that's why we do the Finding Florida podcast. And the groceries all went flying all over the road.
And this whole place is just littered in lights in a good way. They're not just smashed on the ground.
Now, just to clue you in, Glenn may still be using a laugh track during this episode. So prepare your ears and your mind to make sense of that. But there's a very good reason why he's doing it. Stop it, Glenn. He's recovering from a couple of broken ribs, poor guy. We'll tackle how that happened at the end of the next episode. But for now, Glenn, how are you feeling, my dear?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a couple of weeks now, and my ribs are starting to heal, and I can actually laugh and talk now. And I can breathe now, which is good.
That's a major improvement. Very important. Are you doing your breathing exercises?
I am, and I've been getting a lot of hassle from apparently my two wives, you and my wife, about doing my breathing exercises and making sure I don't get pneumonia. And
you can't die on us. We both rely on you.
That's what I've been told by both of you, actually. So,
none of that.
Incident, which you'll hear about in the next episode. Let's just say it. I am all in for making these episodes happen at Finding Florida. I am all in.
Body, soul, mind, 100%. Glenn's dedicated.
Insurance policy.
Oh my gosh. Another thing we're dedicated to are the fine folks at Podfest. And we're both speaking there this coming year, 2018.
Soon, yeah, in a couple months.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. So we're going to be talking about launching a local show. Kind of fitting, don't you think? So, so go ahead and look for all the details on that as we continue to roll out that information.
Very good. And one of our friends, Neil Galarte of Wild Style Media, who I work with over on the Horse Radio Network side, and we both know for a long time.
He's a great guy.
Actually sent us a sweet holiday greeting.
That's so nice.
Happy holidays. This is Neil Galarte, director and editor of The Messengers, a podcast documentary, host of the All Things Post podcast, and owner of Wild Style Media here in Orlando, Florida. I wanted to take a second out to wish Jemmy and the team at the Florida Podcast Network, as well as all of its amazing listeners, a very Merry Christmas and a very happy holidays.
So let's now begin this episode where we talk about Daytona Beach, the need for speed, holidays in Florida, and crazy news stories from near and far. So start your engines. I always wanted to say that.
It's sun, it's fun, it's sports, it's art, it's shopping, and it's history. It's Daytona Beach, Florida, and it's way more than a beach.
Daytona Beach has such an interesting history, Glenn. It was founded in 1870 by Matthias D. Day. He was a business tycoon from Ohio. He purchased 3,200 acres in the fall for a sum of, how much do you think, Glenn?
$1 million.
$1,200.
That's pretty cheap.
He became the owner of Daytona Beach for $1,200. I think that's just amazing. And so it became officially incorporated as a city in 6 years later in 1876, and another 30, 40, how many? I can't do math. 50 years after that in 1926. The three separate towns of Daytona, Daytona Beach, and Seabreeze all merged as Daytona Beach. And what I love about it is it's a huge beach, very, very wide, smooth, hard-packed sands. I thought it was just so cool that there's this kind of a beach here in South Florida. And because
it's different than most of the other beaches that we have in Florida, actually, because
really
it's so
is.
packed down and it's so hard and wide.
If the gods made a runway right there. And you know what? The people looked at it and said, yeah, we can use this for racing. Let's go. So it became known in the 1900s for its high-speed automobile testing and then later racing right there on the beach. It's so cool. If you go to YouTube and look up like retro Daytona Beach racing, you'll see what we're talking about. The cars are right there on the beach. So it's been a mecca for racing enthusiasts ever since.
But if we go back a little bit to the 1870s when it was founded, I actually found pictures that we can put in the show notes on our website at findingfloridapodcast.com of horse and buggies. They were driving the horse and buggies right onto the beach, and they were all lined up there like the cars. Back in the 1800s, they drove the horse and buggies. They got their picnic baskets out, and the horses were all lined up there on the beach.
Who cleaned the poop? Did they just wait for high tide? All just get washed?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh my God. What is that? Yeah, that's horse poop.
I hope somebody was cleaning the beach.
Well, it wasn't because of the poop, though, but it did become known as the world's most famous beach.
And it's still a great big sign there as you enter Daytona Beach, the world's most famous beach. And of course, it's become known for Daytona International Speedway.
The very first race kicked up the sand. Yes, the sand. Can you believe the first track was right here on the beach back in 1936? And then in 1959, they moved it here to the Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing.
I kind of wish I could go back and see it. Don't you wish?
Yeah, that'd be fun, seeing the old cars where they had no safety at all. So yeah, it was, and of course, millions of people come there every year for the races that are at Daytona Speedway, but also for the bike rallies and all the other events that happen at Daytona Beach.
Yep.
It's one of the very few beaches, of course. Everybody knows this, where driving is allowed and parking is allowed on the beach. And we're going to talk to you more about that because in the next episode, we're going to get to do that.
And it was really interesting to see the actual, like a speed limit sign on a beach. That was so cool. I loved it.
It was really cool.
Of course, Daytona Beach has tons of other landmarks. Glenn, what are some of them?
The clock tower The bandshell's been there forever, having concerts. Been there for a very long time. The Pier and Boardwalk, which we are scheduled to do in the next episode. Halifax Harbor Marina. There's a bunch of marinas around there. We saw a bunch of boats. Jackie Robinson Ballpark is there.
Yeah.
The Ponce Inlet Lighthouse, which I've been to and climbed those stairs. And the Ponce Inlet, like 200 and some stairs. And
you couldn't do that right now, could you?
No, I couldn't do that right now. That's for darn sure. And they're very narrow. If you're claustrophobic, you cannot do it.
Ugh.
But the view from up there, you can see everywhere. It is so cool. And then, of course, Bike Week started in the early 80s, and there are thousands. We know when Bike Week happens over here in Ocala because they're coming through here to head over. And we see them by the hundreds just heading over to Bike Week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's so much to do in Daytona Beach, like Bike Week and all the beach stuff, all the Speedway stuff, all the attractions. There's so much to do. And we had a chance to talk about it all with Kate Holcomb, Director of Communications for the Daytona Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
23 miles of gorgeous sandy white beaches, biking, lounging, boogie boarding, swimming, even flying a kite. You can even try a paddleboard lesson, courtesy of Three Brothers Paddleboards. Whichever activity you choose, Daytona Beach has got you covered.
These cars do better than 110 miles an hour, and they're really burning up the sand.
So, Kate, thank you so much for talking to us today. We are so excited. We really did have a great time in Daytona Beach last week, and we're just so excited to be able to talk to you. So how are you today?
Oh, I am fabulous. It's a beautiful day in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Is it ever not a beautiful day in Daytona Beach?
A bad day in Daytona Beach is probably better than almost anywhere else. So I would have to say no.
I would agree.
Right. One of the big signs that we saw when we were driving through here, actually, we caught it as we were headed towards our hotel, was right there along the beach. And it was this big neon sign, and it says world's most famous beach. So I wanted to know, how did it become nicknamed as world's most famous beach?
Well, it was actually well over 100 years ago. It was back when cars were first being developed, and people were thinking, "Wow, we could really race cars." And that was a novel idea at the time. And they wanted to set the land speed records and do different things on the wide open, hard packed sands of Daytona Beach. And it came about from all of that. And somebody said, we're racing on the beach, or we're driving cars on the beach, and that's making it the world's most famous beach, because at the time that was quite a novel idea. So it really has a long history we have a car culture here. Of course, we have the Speedway, Daytona International Speedway, which is the world's only motorsports stadium. And we started racing on the beach, which now, of course, doesn't happen. We go only in certain areas 10 miles an hour, very slowly, windows down, radio
we
off.
We did it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So, that's how it all came about. And it just is something that we have always talked about.
And I know that, was one thing that I noticed about the beach. It's very different from the beaches in my area. Like the beaches in my area, you go out a little ways and then there's a little bit of a sand cliff and then there's not a whole lot between you and the waves. But on Daytona Beach, it is like this huge, wide slab of hard pressed sand, packed sand. And it was awesome. I thought it was so cool. I'm like, this is a huge area for us to all hang out. And I mean, of course, we were there on a Wednesday, so it wasn't as full as I'm sure it gets on the weekends, but it was a really unique looking beach. It was really cool.
That is one of the things about our beach that a lot of people, especially if they've never been here, really don't realize, because we have 23 miles of wide open beaches. There's a lot of elbow room. Some parts of it are very action-packed and busy and a lot going on, and people love that down by the core area, the boardwalk and the pier. But there's also places where it's just very naturally relaxing with natural sand dunes, and probably you don't see another person within, as far as you can see. So it's really got something for everyone, but at low tide, it is almost 500 feet wide at some points. You can walk on it, stroll on it, run on it, ride your bicycle on it.
Yeah.
It's just something that is very unusual and different than a lot of other places.
And I know it kind of set the groundwork for the founding of the International Speedway. I know it has its roots in all of that beach racing too, and your car culture, like you were saying. How does the International Speedway and all the car culture, how does all of that offer something really unique and different to the Daytona Beach experience for someone who's wanting to come visit?
Well, there are race fans who love NASCAR races or our sports car races with the Rolex 24-hour endurance race. But there's so much that can be done, even if you're not a car racing enthusiast. For example, out at the Speedway, there are tours where you can go and experience the 31-degree banks and stand on Victory Lane. And you can take a tour and see all those sites. And then you can also see the Motorsports Hall of Fame, which has some fabulous different things that are in there in the museum that don't even have anything to do with car racing. They have boats and airplanes and all kinds of other things, motorcycles. And even if you're not a racing enthusiast, it's still something wonderful to see, and people are really thrilled about it. But it also pulls in things like our lovely town of Ponce Inlet down to the south, just south of Daytona Beach, where the lighthouse is, the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse, which is, by the way, the tallest lighthouse in Florida, and it's worth every one of the 203 steps to go up and see.
I was just going to say, I climbed that, and I know how tiring it is to climb that.
But worth it, I bet.
I did that at a lighthouse. There is, and I'm trying to find it right now, there is a restaurant that's right across the street from there. It was one of our favorite places to eat. And it was near the Marine Science Center's, Hidden Treasure Rum Bar and Grill. I'm going to give them a plug because we love that place. There are these huge trees. You eat outside, and you're like under the live oak. You're like 10 inches under the live oak branches that go out. It's just the coolest thing.
It's like having a natural shade umbrella right over you with the view of the inlet, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, next time we go, well, I'll bring you there, Jemmy. It's a great place.
Yeah, because Kate, Glenn's been there. How many times did you say you've been to Daytona? I mean, I was a total newbie, but how many times
we live in
have you been there?
Ocala, so we go over all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, there's another restaurant that's very near where the Hidden Treasure is, and it's called Racing's North Turn. And talking about car culture, that's on the original north turn of the track that they used to race on. So they used to race one way up the beach and then come around the turn and go back down on A1A and then make the south turn. And the Racing's North Turn restaurant is oceanfront, freshest seafood you can imagine, live music, but filled with all kinds of car memorabilia, racing memorabilia that you can see and check out because it's right there where the North Turn was.
And can I throw for our dog lovers in there too, when you're out down at that part, when you're down by the inlet, they have a dog beach.
I was going to ask if there's a dog beach.
Yeah, we brought our greyhound down to the dog beach. It was the first time in the ocean.
How fitting a racing dog out at Daytona Beach.
Out at Daytona Beach. That's right.
That's fabulous. So cool. Yes. People love to take their dogs down there, and we have so many restaurants and things that are dog friendly. And down in I don't know if you were in downtown Daytona Beach. If you weren't, it's another reason to come back. Okay. But there's actually this wonderful little shop called Brownie's Dog Boutique, and they'll tell you all about the Brownie the town dog and what that legend is, and they even have like a special marker where he's buried, and it's a wonderful story, and there's lots of dog friendly spots around.
Yeah, maybe that's what we do next time, Glenn. We bring Glory with us and we just do all the dog friendly stuff.
Yeah, the dog things. Yeah.
Daytona Beach has to offer. What are like key annual events and things that Daytona Beach celebrates?
Well, there's, of course, the big events that are associated with Daytona International Speedway, which would be the Daytona 500, which is in February, and Speed Weeks and all that goes with that, the Rolex 24. And there's another great big race in July called the Coke Zero. But there's also the Country Music 500 is one of our best ways of kicking off the summer. It's a 3-day concert. It's out at the Speedway. It's over Memorial Weekend. Please go online and check that out. There, like the biggest names in country music are going to be there. We also have 2 motorcycle rallies a year. We have Biketoberfest, which is in the fall, and Bike Week, which is in March. And, one of the most fun things to do in the summer is we have a historic bandshell, which has been the location of concerts from the time it was built back in the early 1900s. It's right there on the ocean. It hosts cheerleading competitions, national cheerleading and dance corps competitions during spring break. But it's also the place during the summer where they have free concerts, and they have fireworks on Saturday nights, and that is just one thing that is really lovely to do, and maybe not as many people know about.
What do you personally look forward to the most? What do you like to get out there and do on your weekends and your afternoons and stuff?
Well, I'm kind of an outdoors girl, so I really love kayaking. That's my thing.
See, I wouldn't think kayaking when I think Daytona Beach, but you're right.
Oh, my gosh. there's so many opportunities. You can go down and be in the Intercoastal Waterway. I'm not in the open water ocean. That's not my thing, but a lot of people do it. I love to be either on the Intercoastal or go a little bit further west and do some of the natural spring runs and the freshwater lakes, and just there's so many places you can go.
Ooh, it sounds lovely. So so on our list for our next Daytona Beach visit, we have to do dog stuff, and then the one after that we'll do like nature stuff. Sound good, Glenn? Because clearly there's so much to do.
Deep sea fishing is big out of there too, and you can there's a whole bunch of providers for deep sea fishing, and it's good fishing off the coast there.
It's excellent fishing because of our artificial reef system. You know, the county here, Volusia County, has been investing and developing the artificial reef system here for years, and they just are about to sink 2 additional boats that out there to make more sites.
Oh, cool.
And it has created just a really vibrant deep sea offshore fishing. If that's what people like, it is definitely here. Or they can stay inshore and do flat fishing down in the lagoon and all kinds of opportunities.
So if we're going to wrap up with a question, it would be, I know what I like most about living in Ocala. I like, because I'm horsey, so I got that going. But what is the thing that you say, why do you stay living in Daytona Beach? Why do you stay?
I have been all over the world, and I've lived in different places, and I love Daytona Beach because of its proximity to the ocean on our beautiful Atlantic side. It's cooler in the summer, it's warmer in the winter. It's got the outdoors, which I love. It's got shopping and dining. It's not too crowded. It's just the right size. And, we have over 200 properties with 12,000 hotel rooms. And we also have a great economic foundation. So I raised my children here. My children are living here, and we all just think it's great.
And the Daytona Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, what do you guys as an organization do to help kind of sew the fabric in the community and keep the travel tourism going and help buttress the economy there in Daytona Beach?
Well, we had last year estimated 9.8 million visitors, which we know over half or around half stay with family and friends. And they generated almost $40 million in economic impact. So for our local businesses, tourism is key, and we market primarily to North America, including Canada. Our other international markets are UK and Germany. And we have people that come from all over the world who stay here. The Southeast and Florida are our biggest drive-in markets. And we also have direct flights from New York City, Charlotte, and Atlanta. So that's where we market to. And we just try to let people know that we lead with the beach because everybody knows that we have a beautiful beach, but we try to explain to them that we have so much more. We have endless adventures that they might want to check out. It's a reason to stay maybe an extra day and do something new each time you come.
And you're going to hear a lot of those adventures that Jemmy and I went on in our next episode as we made our way around
on the wheels of Daytona Beach. Thank you so much, Kate.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity. Loved it.
And the website is, Kate, DaytonaBeach.com, right?
Absolutely. It's lots of information there.
Daytona Beach, the original American beach.
Well, you have to tune in to 3B, which will come out in a day or two. It'll be on all of your feeds, and you're going to hear all of the adventures we had. And let me just tease this. You're going to hear a lot of screaming from Jemmy. And for a very different reason, you're going to hear
scream.
Yeah, you're going to hear a very different reason. You're going to hear me screaming and in the hospital. So that's all coming up on the next episode.
Oh my gosh. But guess what time it is right now, Glenn?
What time is it?
It's that famous time. Time for us to find more fun stuff out about the rest of the state of Florida.
I would dot the West with little hometowns and fill the East with excitement. Right in the middle, I put a great big playground. I would surround it all with water from coast to coast to coast, and I'd give it a name, Florida.
We may be the Sunshine State, but that doesn't mean we don't get super festive here at the holidays. We just do it in a little bit warmer temperatures. Here's some of the stuff that happens around Florida at the holidays.
So one thing we want to talk about is something that Glenn and I actually got to see for ourselves, and you'll hear the audio from that in the next episode, but it's the magic of lights at the Daytona International Speedway. It was so cool, and there's so many lights, and then you go and you drive through the International Speedway, almost like your own.
You got to drive under the stamp.
I know.
That was really cool. That was the coolest part, is driving under the stamp.
You don't realize how steep they are until you're about to drive under them. But yeah, a ton of lights. So it's all these different vignettes, as Glenn used, the dictionary word, showing different Christmas scenes, all in lights. So it's really cool, and you get to drive through. The advance price is $20 for the car, or gate price, $25 for the whole entire car. And they do take credit cards, guys. I know this firsthand because I kind of almost broke their credit card machine. We don't need to talk about that. It was all good, all good. More information at magicoflights.com. And the second one I want to tell you guys about is happening right at Disney World, which was the location of our very first adventure. So Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party has been happening every year since 1983. It happens right in Magic Kingdom, but you got to buy a separate ticket for it. But there's so much cool stuff there, right, Glenn?
That's right. And, I have never been to that one, actually. I have all my friends have been to it, but we've never been there. It has the Holiday Wishes fireworks, the Cinderella Castle, and all kinds of things. They have a Christmas parade. They hand out little treats to everybody. It starts it is a separate ticket event, so it is more expensive, and it runs at selected nights starting at 7 p.m. through December 22nd. So as you're hearing this, you'll probably be catching that next year. Well,
you have a couple days to rush over there.
Yeah.
A couple days to go. But go for more information to disneyworld.disney.go.com. And I also thought it was interesting as I was searching through stuff, Glenn, that there's actually a town called Christmas right here in Florida. Did you know that?
No, I did not, actually.
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah, no, I'm telling the truth. It's actually halfway between Orlando and the East Coast, and apparently people flock there every year around this time just to get their mail stamp from there. So I thought that was a pretty fun little side note. If you're near Christmas, Florida, you can get your mail stamp from Christmas. I think that's so neat. But also happening in Jacksonville is a gingerbread house extravaganza. It's happening for its 11th consecutive year. I took a peek at some of the pictures from all their different gingerbread houses. Oh my. Okay, I kind of want to hire them to design my own house because some of them were that amazing. But it happens at the Jacksonville Historical Society, and it's all to raise money for children's programs. So if you're near the Jacksonville area, go check them out. Go to gingerbreadjax.org. And happening closer to my neck of the woods down here in Miami is Santa's Enchanted Forest. And I actually, Glenn, just conned my brother into getting tickets for the two of us and Jordan to all go check this out this year. I'm so excited. It's the world's largest Christmas theme park. I can't.
In Florida, of all places. In Miami, of all places.
No, the heat does not stop us. So it has more than 100 rides and shows and games and attractions. And they actually have a really extended time to go check it out. So if you're in the Miami area or going to be between now and January 7th, you can catch it. Go to santasenchantedforest.com for more information about that. And last on the list of highlights for Florida holidays, and this is something I'm actually going to go to check out myself with Jordan. I'm taking him to Tampa this weekend. We are going to go to Legoland and check out their Christmas Bricktacular. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. They have all kinds of fun stuff decked out in two of my favorite things, Legos and Christmas combined. There's scavenger hunts, a giant Lego Christmas tree, and wreaths and characters. I mean, everything's made out of Legos and Duplo bricks. You get to meet a Lego Santa, a Lego toy soldier.
How do you get to be the Lego guy who builds this stuff? How do you get to work at the park and be the one who actually gets to build the Lego stuff?
I don't know, but that would be a dream come true.
The Lego engineer or whatever they called.
I'm sure that's a thing. You know what? I bet you anything that's a thing. And so Jordan doesn't know that we're going. It's a surprise. So if he did, though, I don't know who would be more excited, me or him. I can't wait to go check it out.
Actually.
I know. Bricktacular is included with standard admission for $79.99 and up, and it runs every weekend now through December 25th. So you pretty much have your last chance right now. Just stick to this. More info, go to legoland.com/Florida. Celebrate the holidays in your own Florida way. Example! There is a 35-foot-tall Christmas tree in West Palm Beach that I take my son to check out every year. And it is so cool, Glenn, because guess what it's made of?
West Palm Beach?
Yes.
Golf clubs.
No, but that's an excellent guess. Golf clubs, wine glasses would have also been No, it is made of 600 tons of sand.
Oh, my God.
It is called Sandy Tree. I kid you not, Google it. It's really cool. So that's what I'm going to be checking out. Now, in the spirit of the holidays, Glenn, I found a Florida story that I think you can relate to.
Okay, a skydiving Santa is recovering from a broken leg. Ooh. Look at this. After he crashed into a tree and light bulb before hitting the beach in Gulfport on Saturday. This is video of that actual crash. He was delivering toys to the Tampa Bay's Beach Bums Operation Santa charity volleyball game.
Oh, somebody put a
now,
tree
Santa
right
was taking on the elf on the shelf to a 9-year-old. The elf reportedly left a note for the girl that read, as we were about to land, the big tree jumped right out.
Just like you were saying.
Oh, my gosh. Boy, he hit the top of the tree, too.
Crashing, broken bones.
That hurts me especially right now. I can feel his pain, literally.
Poor Santa. Nobody is safe in Florida. Poor Santa.
He'll be available on the 25th because Santa magically heals.
Exactly.
That's right.
We all have faith in that. All right, Glenn. How about now I put you to the test with a round of Florida or not?
All right, very good. I'm ready. I'm ready this time.
With each of these next news stories, Glenn, you have to tell me if it is from Florida or from somewhere else. Ready?
Florida. Just practicing. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Story number 1. Headline. YouTube prankster cements his own head inside a microwave.
Oh, that has to be Florida. It's too obvious.
Okay, here's the story. Firefighters were left seriously unimpressed, in quotes, after a YouTube video stunt went horrifically wrong. A prankster had his friend cement his head inside a microwave oven on Thursday afternoon, according to authorities. His pals fed an air tube into the device so that he could breathe. Thank God for that. And he covered his face with a plastic bag. When does that ever sound like a good idea, Glenn?
When you're drunk is when that sounds like a good idea. Really, really drunk.
Oh my gosh. But
no alcohol involved in the making of this prank.
Can't imagine. But their attempt at making a cement mold of his features backfired. So how long do you think he spent like that?
2 hours.
You're pretty close. After spending almost 90 minutes desperately trying to free the man from the appliance, his friends called the fire crew. So they spent 90 minutes before they even called for help to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, because who wants to be that embarrassed?
And it says in the news report, at least they hadn't switched the device on.
Oh. The only thing they didn't do.
Oh my gosh.
Are we allowed to say dumbass in this show?
Yeah, you dumbass. The man was left shaken but unharmed after his rescue. Florida or not, Glenn?
Florida.
You're wrong.
Wrong.
And this is actually West Midlands, UK.
Oh, wow.
Not even an American.
I expected that to be United States for sure.
Exactly. I was just as shocked.
I'm glad to hear we're not the only ones.
Oh my gosh. All right. Story number 2. Headline. City employee arrested for stealing city funds to get butt lifts. All the essentials only.
Miami, Florida.
Okay, here we go. A city employee stole $93,000.
That's a lot of butt raising.
Of from the city, and 8,500 of it went towards getting the Brazilian butt lift. According to a city report, Natwaina, I think is how you pronounce her first name, Clark, 33, charged her city-issued credit card 136 times for roughly $61,000 in unauthorized charges and used, get this, her boss's cards at least 36 more times for another $31,000.
Did she think nobody was going to notice this?
Obviously this takes some time. Like, yeah. I don't have credit cards that I can spare $31,000 on. I don't know about you. And then it says she also used city money for a, in quotes, large TV. She was arrested in March on the 28th and charged with larceny and scheme to defraud. The city had fired her on March 21st while she was on a cruise ship vacation. Florida,
West Palm Beach, Florida. Glenn? West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
It
was Gainesville, but
oh, that's up above me.
I know. I was a little surprised it wasn't down here somewhere, but
I was expecting it along the coast.
Definitely Florida. All right. Story number 3. Headline: Sturgeon leaps from river, knocks teen unconscious. Poor thing. I'm sorry to laugh. Okay, here's a story. Wildlife authorities say a teenager was knocked unconscious by a sturgeon jumping from the river. Authorities say 14-year-old Heaven Nash was boating with her family when a sturgeon up to 6 feet long leapt into the boat. I know!
It's a big sturgeon.
Leapt into the boat, knocking her out.
Don't knock anybody out. I'm going to guess Great Northwest.
Wait. This is my favorite part of the story. I love this reporter. He said, according to the Wildlife Conservation Commission, the sturgeon are jumping just as they have for millions of years. Occasionally, boaters get in their way.
Nobody was hurt in the making of this.
Florida or not, Glenn?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say like Washington State.
It actually is Florida. Can you believe
really?
it? Yeah, there's a town called Chiefland in Florida. And yeah.
I didn't even know we had sturgeon that jumped in Florida.
Me neither. All right. So final story. I'll give you the headline and then I'll just let you play it. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
Headline. Actually, you know what? I'm going to skip the headline. I'll let the story speak for itself.
New this morning, a homeowner gets a gross kind of package left behind by a delivery driver, and it's caught on camera. The Amazon driver is in that U-Haul van there, stops to poop in the street right in front of homes in broad daylight. The female driver then runs back into the van and then takes off. Amazon released a statement about this incident and gave the homeowner a gift card. The driver was fired.
I would think so.
Thanks for that gift card, Amazon. How about
you gotta go, crew? You gotta go. They're on deadlines. They have to get those packages delivered.
And it's a woman. That's what was the funniest part to me.
I'm gonna go, because that's usually a guy thing. I'm gonna go not Florida.
Ding, ding, ding. You're right. This one actually happened in California. Sacramento, California. Oh my gosh, the craziness happens everywhere. Well, we want to say congratulations to the Mystery Sound winner from our last pairing of episodes, Janet Wiley. She guessed the Mystery Sound episode 2A and then emailed me, and she was right. Now, it was extra tricky because there were 2 sounds that she had to guess, and let's remind our listeners what that sounded like. Glenn, hit it.
Just sounds angry, that one. This one is fun. Okay.
Now, and going with the animal theme of that last episode, those were mating calls or animals actually in flagrante. I'm trying to remember. Glenn, did you ever guess what they were?
Yeah, I guessed alligator for the first one.
Yeah, you got that right. Yay!
Okay. That's that was pretty obvious, I think. I didn't know it was alligators actually doing it, but it did sound like
No, it's not. It's just their mating call.
Oh, that's just their mating call.
Yeah,
okay. The second one sounded like a critter actually doing it.
It was.
Boy, I don't know. Some kind of little chickmunk?
No, that's a good guess. I get it. But no, it's a turtle. It's a turtle. What? And you have to. I don't care what else you have on your plate today. Go to YouTube and Google turtles getting it on because the video is hilarious. Like the sound is one thing, but the video is just, oh my gosh.
Well, they do sound like they enjoy.
So, Janet, I don't know what you're into, but congratulations on being very familiar with the mating sounds of alligators and turtles.
Oh, and now we have a very special one for this month. And where can people submit their answer for this?
So we're going to post something on the Facebook page. So go to there, or you can just email me,
Finding Florida Podcast.
Sorry, yes, facebook.com/Finding Florida Podcast. Or you can email me, JAIME@FloridaPodcastNetwork.com.
And we're going to give you a little clue. If you don't know this one today, the first one to find it in the next episode, because it'll be in there, you'll get to get your answer in quickly.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. Do that again. One more time.
So the sound, there's a lot going on in that clip, even though it's short. It's that big crash sound. That's what we want you to guess what that is. So the first one to send that in and get it right will win some Finding Florida Podcast swag.
Officer in need of assistance from animal control.
As promised on the last episode, we're going to try to have this other segment be a regular thing as often as we can. It is the critters of Florida, because not only are the people of Florida a bunch of wild animals, but we have a bunch of wild animals anyway. So we're going to be sharing some stories about Florida's crazy critters. And this one actually happened in Fort Walton Beach just a few days ago, and it's hilarious. So the headline, an opossum released unharmed after breaking into a liquor store and getting drunk.
Because that's what we do in Florida.
It's a possum after my own heart. Don't worry, opossum, I get you. So here's the story. The opossum busted into a Florida liquor store and guzzled a bottle of bourbon. Seriously, a bottle of bourbon. And so everyone had to get involved, from the Fort Walton Beach Police to the Emerald Coast Wildlife Refuge, and just join forces to figure out, what do you do with a drunk opossum? Oh my gosh. Apparently a worker at the liquor store found the animal on a shelf, practically passed out, with the cracked open bottle next to it and nothing else, and just wasn't really acting right. And he quickly put two and two together and took him over to get treated. So the poor thing, I mean, it had quite a time. And as some people know, if you ever drink too much, what's the next best thing you got to do to help with that hangover, Glenn? Do you remember?
Drink more?
Drink lots of fluids. So they flushed this thing with lots of fluids and released her a couple days later. No problem. So the only thing...
You know what this means, don't you?
What?
Like humans, this possum's going to be back to the liquor store.
And you know what? They need to watch out, because apparently this opossum has expensive taste. The bottle was a 21-year-old bottle of bourbon. So
oh my
it's
God.
not like it was a $5...
Not a cheap drunk, this one.
No, yeah. Well, thanks for coming along with us once again as we are finding Florida.
There's just so much to do in the town of Daytona Beach, and you get an inside peek at our full adventure in the next episode that will be coming out in a day or two, so look for that on your feeds. And for our next adventure, we'll be heading down to Jemmy's area of the state, the Southeast, but we're still deciding on a few options that we have. We're waiting for confirmation of a particular event, which we're excited about, we hope comes through. Whether or not we do that one or not, we still are going to be doing another challenge or a road trip or something. We're going to be doing something.
We haven't quite figured it out. We're doing something, sometime, someday, in a day in January, we think.
That's right. We'll post that as soon as we know what we're up to there.
And to find us on social media and figure out where the heck we're going, just head to findingfloridapodcast.com for all the links, or search for Find FL Podcast wherever you are. Hook up with our Finding Florida Podcast YouTube channel for behind-the-scenes videos of our recent adventures as well.
But on the very next episode, it's the wheels of Daytona Beach. And did the wheels come off? You'll find out. And here's to your next adventure. I wonder who was cleaning up the poop. That's my question.
The ocean, probably.
You'll hear more of the audio from the next episode are the magic of lights at the Daytona Beach Speedway. Darn it.
Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah.
Daytona International Speedway.
Shut up!
And for our adventure next month, we'll be heading down to Jamie's area of the state, the Southeast. But we are still
really
deciding.
Am I really going to have to spell it out, Jemmy, for you? You said Jamie.
Did I really? See, I just read it that way. I don't know why. That's weird. I've been right the rest of the time, though. It's like I have to do it once per episode. But we will still be deciding. And for our next adventure, we'll be heading